Good afternoon and welcome to my weekly live session when I share ideas and insights on leading your career and leadership. And today I will be talking about creating a new self-identity for your next level of success. My name is Anne Caulfield. I'm an executive leadership coach and career strategist, supporting individuals to develop the clarity, vision, and focus to advance their careers on their terms. And within this area where they feel most confident and have the desire to grow and develop into the future. So if you're joining me live here today, please say hello in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. And if you're watching the replay, type replay into the comments. I love to know who's joining me here. And also, please get involved in the conversation. If you have any questions for me as I share what I'm going to share with you today, I'd love to see those questions and I will hopefully answer those either during their session or afterwards in the comments. So as part of my work, I work with individuals every day who are already very accomplished in their careers. And now they've reached a point when they are not as clear on how to navigate the next stage of their career. Either they know what they want and they've just not been able to get there, or they're not clear on what's next, even though they're highly experienced and already highly accomplished in their careers. And typically, this always comes down to a few key areas where they need to develop the skills to take the next level. It's no longer about, what they know or what experience they have. It's about how they're translating this into meaning at the next level, whatever that may be for them. So today I want to talk specifically about creating a new self-identity for your next level of success. So the reason why I believe this topic is really important to share with you today is because I see so many individuals who are doing so much hard work to get to the next stage in their careers, but sometimes it's not working for them, even though they believe they're doing all the right things, they're doing all of the work, but it's just not working for them. And the reason why that can happen is because it's around how they have positioned themselves in relation to their own self-identity. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about what I mean for that in a moment. But essentially is your self-identity, how you identify yourself, as in like how you see yourself, is actually the ceiling with which the success you get to. So you actually cannot achieve a higher level of success than the identity, your own self-identity that you have for yourself. Okay, so this is really, really important. And it's important to understand that if your own sense of self-identity is not matched up to where you want to get to, you're probably never going to get there, right? So what needs to happen is we need to do the work on the inside, and we really need to look at ourselves in how, we can develop and how we can realign our identity to be more aligned to where we want to go towards. So I'm going to share a few points with you today to help you to start thinking about this for yourself and wonder, well, actually, maybe that's happening for me. So I'm doing all of the hard work. I'm getting all of the achievements I want. I'm getting the results. I'm exceeding the metrics and targets. I have all the things. I'm doing all of the things. But for some reason, I'm not really able to get to that next level where I want to be. Or maybe for some reason, you're not able to identify what that next level is. So there's a few things that are really important here. And in order to think about this, our self-identity is what we believe is possible for ourselves, how we see ourselves as a professional, how we see ourselves in our careers, how we see ourselves in our lives in general. So the identity within which we've created our own person, when we see ourselves, how do we perceive ourselves? What do we believe about ourselves? What do we believe to be true? And this is all embedding into our subconscious to the point where we're living out that every single day. So it's like creating the character in a movie. We create our own character. It's created by our environment. It's created by many different things in our lives that led us up to where we are today. And then we're just playing out that movie in real life. So we're the character in the movie. So we need to decide who is that character. And in doing so, developing the awareness about that character, but also understanding how we need to grow and develop that character into the future. And ultimately, that's what I mean by, in a more simplified way I can possibly explain it, that is really what self-identity is all about. So do we see ourselves as, if you're going to get to the senior VP position, the CEO position, or the senior manager position, whatever that is for you, do you already see yourself in that place? You know, do you see yourself? And if you don't realistically believe that's possible for you, and you know it's always going to be difficult for you to get there, and you believe there are a lot of obstacles in your way, then that is exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's probably happening to you right now. So a few things to think about is, first of all, thinking about when you're looking to create or update, shall I say, your self-identity to align it to where you want to get next to in your career or with regards to your professional goals. The first thing is to understand what does the next level look like for you? You know, how does the next level behave? How do they look? How do they act? You know, how do they show up? And really looking for yourself to understand, well, what does that look like, right? So you have to be able to paint that picture, and you have to be able to see what that looks like. And ideally, you know, if you have somebody around you, somebody that you worked with, somebody in your environment that you see is already in a place that you want to be in, at a professional level that you want to be in. Now, how do they show up? What are the characteristics that you admire about that individual? And then look to yourself and see, do you already display those characteristics? Do you already display that in everything you do? And if not, then there's obviously a gap to where you want to be. And with all of this, it's not a matter of, you know, just taking on new behaviors. It's very much about going back and looking at your beliefs. What do you believe is possible for you? So you can't just like put a band-aid on it. Well, that'll work for a while, but it won't work for a long term. Okay. So you need to go back and you need to look and think is, what do you actually believe is possible for you? And that's a whole other discussion that I can get into in another one of these lives. Excuse me. So the second one then is really about thinking about, you know, what are you doing every day and what's not working for you? So when we don't have our self-identity matched to the level that we want to get to in our careers, how I like to describe it is, you know, we're pushing really, really hard, but we're not really getting anywhere. And when we're pushing really, really hard, we create resistance at the other side, right? When actual fact, we need to take back a step, and we need to make things easier for ourselves. So how I sometimes describe that is, if you get a ball and you try to push that into a pool of water, you're in the swimming pool, you're trying to push that into a pool of water, what keeps happening? It keeps bouncing up against you, right? So the more we push, the more resistance we get, the more exhausted we're going to get, and the more tired we're going to get. And eventually what's going to happen? We're going to give up. So what we need to do differently is we need to leave that ball float in the water. And the reason I use this analogy is that we need to really step back and make things easier for ourselves and realign ourselves to the identity that doesn't actually require us to push too hard, right? But it requires us to have a different set of beliefs around how we show up, how we see our value, how we connect and articulate our value to that next stage and wherever we want to get to. So, you know, really taking about really, and I see people all the time when they work on updating their self-identity, you know, they say things like, you know, there's a weight being taken off my shoulders. Like I was pushing too hard in the wrong direction, when actual fact, I just need to take a step back and really figure out what it is about me that I need to realign around how I perceive myself, the beliefs that I have about myself, and how I show up, and what I believe is possible for me. The second question I want you to think about is, will you wait until you get there before you start behaving like that? Because that's what you don't want to do. So you want to start updating your self-identity now so that you actually can get there. And sometimes we find that, you know, I see people waiting almost for permission to step up to the next level, or believing that, oh, well, when I get to that next level, then, you know, I will be worthy of showing up with this new level of identity. And of course, it doesn't actually work like that. Okay, so you need to already start showing up like that right now. And the thing is, success only amplifies what is already there. So if you're already successful in how you show up, how you work with others, how you influence and impact, you know, success or getting to that next level will just amplify what is already there. So you want to be able to update that identity so it amplifies what is already there for you. And this is the transformation that happens from within. So it's internal to you that you need to go through that transformation for yourself. so that then everybody around you can see there's something different happening here. This person's showing up differently because they've done the inner work. Now, there's obviously a lot more to that I won't get into today, and I don't have time to get into today, but I just want to raise the point, which it's really, really important, is to do the inner work. It's not just a matter of, oh, okay, right, that makes sense, I'll just go off and do that now. There is a lot of inner work that has to happen. And I see when I work through this with my clients, the transformation is amazing. It really is amazing how people, show up differently, how they achieve their results much easier than they've done in the past. And everything's just easier, right? We're not pushing as hard, and, it's benefiting everybody around us. Okay. So, really, I suppose going on from there, what is really, really important is to think about, how you're going to manage your emotions is really, really important as you go through this. So as an emotional intelligence coach, I do a lot of work with people in relation to elevating their leadership, helping them to be more effective leaders, because emotional intelligence is considered the key differentiating factor for successful leadership. But in saying that, mastering your emotions will be critical to becoming who you need to become, right? And what I mean by that is to really get clear on, how you want to cultivate the type of person you want to be, how you want to cultivate your interactions with those people around you, how you want to positively influence the people who you're engaging with every single day. But again, it all starts with that internal work. When I say master your emotions, when I say it starts within, it's talking about is really about understanding how you can take on the emotions of somebody who is worthy to be at that next level, who is trusted to be at that next level, and who has the belief in themselves to be at that next level, whatever it is. So really taking that internally to understand what you really feel for yourself is really, really important. And really feeling it and believing it is going to get you there. Okay. But you have to do that internal work in order to get there. So thinking about that, for yourself, just even ask yourself a question right now. Is how you're feeling right now about yourself and your career, is that cultivating you in your desire to get to where you want to be? Is it helping or is it hindering? And a lot of the times, if we think about it, we're pushing ourselves too hard, we're probably creating, as I said, resistance to getting there. Because if there's resistance, that means I don't really believe this is possible for me, or there's always going to be an obstacle, or this is going to be in my way. And we're putting the obstacles right in front of us. We're building that wall, when actual fact, we need to go back and do the inner work so that we can update our self-identity, which actually is in alignment. And we have mastered our emotions around feeling that we are worthy, we have that what we need to get to that next level, we have the trust and all the rest that comes with that. So the other part here is asking yourself about that, and really ask yourself, are you in alignment now with what you've achieved in the past? Or are you more in alignment with what you want to achieve into the future? And as you can imagine, if you're getting stuck where you are, you're probably more aligned to what you've already achieved in your career up to now in relation to your self-identity. But what you want to do now is you want to think about, how can I realign myself in relation to my self-identity of who I believe I am, what I believe is possible for me, the attitude I have around how I show up, the emotions I have around how I believe I'm worthy, and I have the trust to step myself up to that next level. Really wholeheartedly believing in that, and realigning it is going to get you to that next step to where you want to be. And sometimes, and I think we've all seen it at certain stages in our career, where we see some people like progressing very easily, as we believe, to the next level. Yes, they've done the work, but you're thinking, well, I mean, I've done the work too, but why are they getting there easier? And the difference is, one of the key differences is around their self-identity. They actually believe that they are truly capable of being in that position. And while you might think, well, I believe it too, but do you really, right? Is your attitudes, your behaviors, your beliefs, everything around you, how you're showing up, is that really in complete alignment with where you want to be? Because when you show up with that confidence, everybody else has confidence in you too. And it makes a lot of things easier for you. The ideas, that creative thinking, everything just becomes simpler because it's no longer a push, right? It's just you stepping into that new self-identity, which is aligned to your next level of success. So I hope you've taken away some key points from what I've shared with you today. But it is so important, and I really wanted to take time this week to share this with you live here today, and just think about it and think about for yourself. Maybe this is something that you need to work on. And by the way, it's something we all need to be working on all of the time. We always need to be up leveling to our next level of self-identity, which is aligned to where we want to be, because why? We're always growing. We're always growing. So we don't want to be staying static. We want to be moving forward. We want to be aligning ourselves to the next level, whatever that may be. And it doesn't necessarily need to be promotion. It doesn't necessarily need to be the next level up in the organization. It could be just a next level of growth that we want to have for ourselves in our career, in the impact we're making in our organization, in the positive influence we're having in our environment. It might be anything, but you need to level up to that first in relation to your own self-identity if you really want to make it there. So I hope you found this beneficial, and I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think of what I shared with you today. Any additional ideas, anything you'd like to add to what I've shared with you today, love to hear that, and let's start the conversation. And again, if you have any questions at all, drop it into the comments or drop me a message, and I'd love to get back to you and support you with that as well. So that's all of it for this week, and I look forward to seeing you back here again next week. Take care. Bye for now.